Hey everyone, it's Lizzie Karen again. Now this is an interesting site. This is the Ramesseum, and it's very close to the Colossi of Memnon. In fact, it's in Memnon. And it was a super hot day when we got to this place, and I really struggled with getting all the way through. So the end bit's a bit sparse, but it's really worth looking at because you see the most amazing combination of technology here right next to each other. So you see all this normal dynastic Egyptian work with the nice walls and the smaller blocks. I mean, they're still quite big blocks, but they're not pyramid-sized, if you get my drift. And then you start seeing bits of a giant one-piece statue, and they're all over the place. And then there's this really massive base block, really, really massive. And you don't even realize quite how massive it is until you get a bit closer. And when you see here, we've got any XD getting a bit closer, and then you realize, wow, this is gigantic.
There's the head. You have a better view of it to the other side. And you actually have the glyph here up here. Kemet, you see the owl, the M?
No.
Okay, so on the lintel,
Oh, yes.
right above you have the owl. That's the hieroglyphic sign for M.
Right.
And right next to it, you've got smaller blocks cut up, and you've got statues, nicely carved statues of sandstone, but they're not one piece.
Head, shoulder,
Oh, wow.
deep incised reliefs of Ramses, which we've talked about. His reliefs go around. But why don't we go to the shady part? We'll walk up these stairs here and try to get underneath.
This one's interesting. It's green. It looks like it's some kind of green basalt.
It does look like this.
And it wasn't the only statue that was of a very interesting green coloured, very hard stone, and very detailed at that. When you look around, you can actually see other pieces of the same statue. And then there's this one area where there is a doorway, a large doorway made of this very green looking stone. And it's extremely intriguing. So, it's clear. There we go. There's a really good picture of the green. It's really quite intense. And of course you've got more of these statues, but you can see quite clearly that they are cut blocks made into a statue. They're not one piece of stone, not like the giant Colossus. It's amazing. And the basalt, greenish coloured statues are also one piece of stone. And yes, they're not as big as the giant Colossi ones, but it's still pretty significant in size. And so there's one last bit of this temple which I will just gloss over quickly because by this stage the heat was getting to me. And so you'll just see a few photos and then some general shots of the area. But just that right next to each other, being able to see the dynastic Egyptian work right next to the ancient high technology work, it was quite an amazing thing, seeing it right next to each other. So that was the Ramesseum, and right next door are the Colossi of Memnon, as I said before, because they really are quite impressive when you are next to them and see the size, but they've suffered an awful lot of damage And of course they don't sing anymore, but I'll talk about that in the episode I do on the Colossi of Memnon. And so that was it for the Ramesseum, and I will just leave you with a few pictures. Okie doke, I'll catch you next time.